Any other words of encouragement as far as how I start homeschooling?
Well, and I was just going to share as an encouragement to moms who feel like I don't know how to teach chemistry or things like that, and maybe you guys could share your testimony on this too.
Sure.
I know with our homeschool, when we were deciding how do we want to do this, because some people say, oh, do you sit at the kitchen table all day long and just teach your kids? And I was like, well, I wanted my kids to know that learning is a lifelong thing as well.
Right.
Because as adults, we don't quit once
Yeah.
we finished 12th grade or college or whatever. You weren't done with learning. I mean, I still choose good books to read, and we still, So the idea of having our kids build that into their lives as just part of the fabric of their lives, and henceforth we do things, and we do a lot of conversations together, but a lot of the subject matters that they study tend to be more on their own. I mean, I don't sit and teach a class for my kids. That's not what we do. They have their spaces and they learn, and I'm with them and monitoring and know how they're doing and stuff. But teaching them that this is their job before the Lord at this point in their life, to learn more about His world and to do their very best. And they might not like history,
Yeah.
but to choose to do it with a good attitude as unto the Lord, and therefore, so I guess some of that individual stuff. But to be honest, our boys going through chemistry and physics, did I have to help Luke a little bit with chemistry? Yes, and some of it came back to me, but it was like, okay, let me see these, but
Yeah.
Largely self-taught, honestly.
Yes.
Largely self-taught.
and some kids may not have it that easy, and some parents may not have it that easy, but there's, like you said, a lot of resources out there, and there are tutors, and there are things. So if you need help in a specific area, you don't have to be intimidated from homeschooling completely if you don't understand it.
Yes. So I have a story to share. So we had this couple over to our house, and they had a couple little kids, and they weren't ready for school yet. But we talked about homeschooling because they knew that's what we did.
Sure.
And the mom, she looked at me and she was like, "How do you homeschool? I mean, are you teaching everything yourself?" And I said, "No, for the most part, I'm a facilitator. I'm a manager
Correct.
of what
Yep.
they are doing."
That's right.
And that was a light bulb moment for her, because she goes, "Oh, that's what I do in my job. I'm not doing all of the coding for these websites. I manage the people who are."
That's right.
And she was like, and that was a light bulb moment for her.
Yep. Yeah. So here's a question for you, as far as what kind of encouragement could you give to a family whose kids are perhaps early teenagers, or maybe tweens, maybe 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, and maybe the Lord has opened their eyes, and we have I think both of us, we have testimonies of people that we have been and we are ministering to that are in these types of situations, that are just pulling their kids out of the government schools, or just as far as compromising liberal Christian school or whatever the situation, and they're taking greater personal ownership of their kids' discipleship and education. So what kinds of encouragement could you give to a family that is in a situation like this, where the kids have this vast, quote unquote vast social network and friends and all these extracurricular activities that they're going to miss? That's a lot of pressure to overcome. Or it's like, so what kind of encouragement could you give to a family that is in a situation like this?
Yeah, we've seen both, where the kids are hesitant to leave a more traditional school system where they have, like you said, this network of social activity that they're not going to get at home. It's not going to be the same. And then we've seen those who are actually very excited to get away from some of those things.
Bullying.
Could be those kinds of things. So we've seen both, but especially for the first case, where there's a hesitancy, where there's difficulty in changing their entire environment, their daily environment, it's going to take some time for them to come on board. And this is an opportunity to start to build a relationship and really get them on board. One of the principles of leadership is to get buy-in from those you're leading.
Correct.
So you really need to get buy-in from them on why you're doing what you're doing.
Sure.
And it's not just the academics, it's the relationships that you're building and the other things that we've talked about before. But I would even say, don't even try to dive deep into the academics right away.
Mm.
Just start to build that different culture, that family at home
There you go.
culture of relationships, and focus on that at the very beginning.
Yeah, and because homeschooling continues to grow in popularity, there are so many activities that are available to homeschoolers now. Social groups, clubs, drama groups, sports groups. So it's not like you're moving to an island, a foreign country, and you're going to be by yourself in a jungle.
Yeah, you and Robinson Crusoe, right?
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities of things to get involved in, and like what he said, when you're getting buy-in, sit down and talk to your children.
Correct.
Why do you want to do this? And your child, when spoken to in that manner, will they'll come on board, because they'll see your heart and your vision and your purpose, and you can tell them, listen, as your parent, I'm not going to get everything perfect, but why don't we try this together?
That's
Right.
right.
Why don't
Understand
we?
your why.
Yeah, let's try this out, and let's see what happens, and you know, do your best to provide opportunities for your child so that it's not just a drop off, because I don't think that's the point of homeschooling anyway. We're not trying to isolate anyone. We're trying to provide them with a better social circle, a better environment.
Yeah.
So even if I've only had one child, you know, I don't have to necessarily feel like I've dropped off the face of the earth. Like you said, there's
Yes.
a lot of, I know around here, the homeschool teams, the homeschool co-ops, you know, you guys do
Yeah.
the theater stuff, so you've got some of that,
Yeah.
you know, there's plenty. I know we do a lot of traveling, so our kids can have friends in other states because they've met people, but yeah,
Yeah.
you don't need 6 or 7 to homeschool and have
Yes,
communities.
Right.
yes. You can have one
Right.
child and homeschool well and have your child thrive.
Mhm.
That's right, and that's where wisdom and discernment is always needed, because, you know, too much of a good thing can be a curse. You know, and that's where dads and moms need to be, you know, all things prayerfully considered. Lord, give me, never done this before. Lord, give me greater wisdom to understand, you know, how to do this, you know, as far as rooted in your holy word, and vision to see beyond what is to what ought to be. Your vision board for what our family life could be, and therefore courage. Let's face it, it takes a tremendous amount of courage to initiate this kind of decisive action, to go against the flow of culture, and even much of the Christian culture. And so once again, it's wisdom, vision, and courage. And so, you know, any final words of encouragement as far as, hey, how do I start homeschooling?
Well, I think that, as you were just alluding to,
Sure.
one of the verses that I think has become very important to me has been Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. And so I think that's, like you said, trust in the Lord for that discernment, that wisdom, the guidance.
That's right. That's right. So this has been really good, and so thank you indeed for praying for Grace Family Ministries, and we pray that you are blessed and encouraged as together we advance the cause of Christ to the ends of the earth, beginning right at home. Check us out on our website, gracefamilyministries.org. Subscribe to YouTube channel, spread the word, and uphold this ministry initiative in prayer. Soli Deo Gloria. All right, that was fun.